Ever since I was a kid, I've always been a huge fan of theme parks. But back in early 2021, I started to get really into roller coasters as well. Since then, I've been across most of the eastern United States, with 116 coaster credits to my name. So in this video, I wanted to try something I've been waiting to do all year. It's finally time to go through the best of the best and rank my personal top 10 roller coasters. Number 10, Pantheon at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. I had a tough time picking between this one and another Virginia coaster, Twisted Timbers. In the end though, despite how great that ride is, I think I slightly prefer Pantheon. Not only does it have fantastic airtime moments scattered throughout, but also a slew of great inversions to pair. In fact, I think my favorite element might just be that zero-G stall near the end of the ride. However, that's the biggest issue with this ride. It just ends a bit too soon. If there were another element or two thrown in there, Pantheon may be even higher on this list. As it stands though, it's still one of my favorite Intamin creations, even if it only barely breaks into this top 10. Number 9, Fury 325 at Carowinds. For a while, this was my number 1 coaster. Something about the speed, variety of elements, and pure size just worked perfectly for me. This year, however, with a couple more re-rides, I had to knock it down on my list. Maybe it was just how it was running this year, or maybe I've been on some more impressive rides, but either way, this is where it landed. Don't get me wrong though, it's still a fantastic ride. The sense of speed on Fury is unmatched, and it's easily the best coaster by B&M. Unlike many of their other rides, Fury 325 actually has pretty good airtime, particularly the first drop and airtime hills near the end. Honestly, this may just be one of the best layouts in the world. Still, it isn't quite as intense as I remembered, and this turnaround in particular ended up being a huge dead spot in the layout. Despite those minor flaws, Fury 325 is still a fantastic ride. It may not be my favorite anymore, but I wouldn't sleep on it either. Number 8, Storm Chaser at Kentucky Kingdom. The first of many RMCs on this list, Storm Chaser is a surprisingly powerful ride for its size. The airtime here is some of the best on an RMC, which is saying a lot considering the reputation. The twisted first drop is hit or miss depending on your row, but every other moment hits hard in every single row. The double down before the ending is insane, and up there is one of the best airtime moments I've ever experienced. While Lightning Run is fantastic, I don't think any other ride at Kentucky Kingdom can compete with Storm Chaser. Number 7, Phantom's Revenge at Kennywood. This ride doesn't feel real. While it starts off with a pretty modest first drop, what comes after is absolutely insane. The second drop is even taller than the first, catapulting guests off the side of the hill. The airtime you get on this drop is incredible, with it sort of snapping into place rather than a smooth drop down. When you finally reach the bottom, you get some insane positive Gs, eventually making your way back up to some of the best airtime moments on the planet. In fact, I think the 2 bunny hills at the end of this ride are the single strongest moments of ejector airtime I've ever experienced. If you're looking for a crazy, intense, and unique ride, Phantom's Revenge is perfect. Number 6, Mystic Timbers at Kings Island. Now, I know most people wouldn't even think about putting this ride as high as I have, but hear me out here. Despite its size and appearance, I think Mystic Timbers may just be the perfect wooden roller coaster. The layout feels so dynamic and non-stop, throwing you in any and every direction. The landscape surrounding the ride is gorgeous, and I love the little touches like the tunnel and even the slightly underwhelming shed. Especially at night, this ride feels swift and out of control, which puts it up there as one of my absolute favorite night rides. Just an amazing wooden roller coaster in a park filled with amazing wooden roller coasters. Number 5, Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point. Okay, look, I know. Steel Vengeance not being my number 1, let alone being outside my top 3, is somewhat blasphemous. However, as much as I love this ride, I don't think I can put it any higher than this. Let me be clear though, this is an incredible ride. It has some of the best moments of airtime on any roller coaster out there, and so much of it that your thighs feel numb coming off. That's another thing with this ride, it's incredibly long. It's one of the only RMCs with a mid-course brake run, yet the action feels non-stop from beginning to end. However, my biggest problem with this ride is variety. Yes, the airtime is incredible, but nothing else really stands out for me. It's not a very intense ride when it comes to positive G-forces or laterals, and the inversions, while good, aren't quite excellent. As much as I love this ride's airtime, I just wish it had a bit more than that. The finale is literally just airtime hill after airtime hill. For those who can't get enough of that out of your seat feeling, I understand the praise for this ride. But personally, I just wish it did a bit more with its incredibly long layout. Again, still an amazing ride and one of the best in the world, but just misses the mark by a little bit for me. Number 4, Lightning Rod at Dollywood. This and Steel Vengeance are extremely close, but in the end, the intensity and environment surrounding Lightning Rod really make it stand out. As someone who only rode this after its steel track conversion, I can't say I've been on this ride when it's reached its fullest potential. But even at like 80 or 90% of its potential met, it's still an incredible ride. The launch lift is great, and while the first hill up top is a little lackluster, the first drop itself is incredible. It's not my favorite by any means, but it really is fantastic. From there, you have the wave turn, the outer bank, a massive airtime hill, the quad down, and a huge sweeping turnaround back to the station. It's short, but every element is just perfect. Well, again, minus that first hill. Otherwise, it really doesn't get much better than Lightning Rod. Number 3, Intimidator 305 at King's Dominion. Now, I've been on a ton of different roller coasters, but up until I actually rode it, the one I was most afraid of was Intimidator 305. I've been on taller rides, like the aforementioned Fury 325, but it's the intensity of Intimidator I heard so much about. And yes, this ride is intense. The turn after the first drop comes with a ton of positive Gs, leading to a gray out up until you hit the first airtime hill. After that, there's plenty of low-to-the-ground snappy transitions, giving riders an unrivaled sense of speed. That, paired with the underrated airtime moments, put this ride way higher than I could have expected. It may not be for everyone, but for me, Intimidator 305 is one of the best out there. Number 2, Iron Gwazi at Busch Gardens Tampa. I was not expecting this ride to get so high on this list. After my first ride on it, Iron Gwazi only barely cracked my top 5, but after revisiting it a few months later, its greatness truly showed. While every RMC, including this one, has great moments of airtime, what separates Iron Gwazi from the others is the variety of its intensity. The first drop is fantastic, not only for the amazing airtime off the top, but the intense positive Gs when you pull out at the bottom. It's the variety of elements that really make this thing shine. The death roll, the wave turn, even the double down near the end, it all just hits. The only moment I could say was disappointing is the 0G stall, which is the only real dead spot in the layout for me. Otherwise, this is a near perfect ride with one of the best layouts of any coaster out there. It's truly worth the hype. Number 1, Jurassic World Velocicoaster. It wasn't going to be anything else. This is not only one of the best roller coasters out there, but one of the best rides in general. While it may not be quite as intense as some others on this list, it's elevated by the immaculate theming surrounding the ride. The rockwork in the first half is incredible, working both as some nice decor and obstacles to avoid. Even without that, the layout is fantastic. There's some great moments of airtime, a fantastic set of inversions, 2 powerful launches, and even some nice laterals. Not to mention, the Mosasaurus roll is likely the best inversion ever created. All of that also makes it incredibly re-rideable. I've been on this ride 7 different times, and it just keeps getting better. As a whole, Velocicoaster is one of the best out there, and currently my number 1 favorite coaster that I've ever been on. Check out this video to see every new ride coming to Florida in 2023. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.